Everybody, welcome to Bourbons and Bullshit. Big, the boss hog on the numeral 11. Oh, wow. What's up, guys? Hi, welcome to this episode of Bourbon and Bullshit. It's an interesting one today because it's my birthday. So today's July 5th, 2025. I got some visitors in town helping celebrate my birthday. Who are you?
Brad Elliott.
Brad Elliott, where are you from?
Pipe Creek, Texas.
Pipe Creek, Texas. So for those of you that know me, you know I have a house in Pipe Creek. So we're going to talk about a whole bunch of cool stuff today. One, because it was my birthday, Bradley bought me a new bottle of bourbon. And this is Rabbit Hole, and it's called Cavehill. So we're gonna open this, we're gonna taste it. I've been to the Rabbit Hole distillery in Kentucky. What a cool experience. I bought some limited edition bottles there that Bradley and I sat here at the bar last night and sampled. Pretty cool stuff. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get to know Bradley, get to know how we know each other, things like that. So want to highlight one thing, my new shirt of Bourbon and Bullshit. I'll tell you where this came from in a minute. And if you look at the back of it, it's me and Pat on the back of my shirt. And Pat giving the one finger salute always. So as you know, Bourbon and Bullshit is in honor of Pat Reinecke, one of my good friends. So let's start with, how do we know each other?
So I met John one day as he came to come view a property that was right next to my parents' house. And I was out running around with a BB gun looking for something to shoot at like normal. And I was, what, 12?
I don't know.
10?
So let's think about this.
Somewhere in there?
So I bought that house, I bought that piece of land in January of 2006. So
I was 15?
I thought you were 14.
15, yeah. Somewhere
So I went to look at the piece of land that it now has my house on it in Pipe Creek, and Bradley was out there. Tell me some of your hobbies.
Hunting, fishing, being outdoors, basically. Anything outdoors.
So I get to bust his chops a little bit because at one point, I used to let him hunt my 10 acres in Pipe Creek, and I had to kick him off because he killed anything that moved. Anything that moved. So so now there's stuff alive there because he hunts it, but he hunts the big stuff now.
Yeah.
As a kid, he used to shoot squirrels and jackrabbits and woodpeckers, and it didn't matter. But I got to brag on him. He's left-handed, one of the best left-handed shots I've ever seen. We took, do you remember this? We took that empty Sprite bottle, plastic bottle, and set it all the way out in the yard, probably
50, 60 yards.
50, 60 yards, yep. And from my front porch, he put an arrow right through that bottle from 50 or 60 yards. Unbelievable shot. That's why he had to stop hunting on my property, because he was such a good shot, he never missed. But anyway,
But yeah, so I saw John out there and he was wearing this goofy little hat, and I'd never seen one before, you know, and so went and talked to him. He was asking how the water flew through there, because we have like a little wet weather creek that kind of runs through the two properties, and he was asking some questions, and he asked about my parents, and I told him, you know, he's like, well, you think we'll get along with your parents? I was like, well, do you drink beer? And he's like, well, yeah. I was like, okay, then y'all get along just fine. So...
and we've been friends ever since. How old are you now?
Just turned 34.
Just turned 34. So he drove over from San Antonio to Houston, which is about a 4-hour ride last night. And so we sat here visiting for a couple hours. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open this bottle. This bottle, so by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but I ain't got no glasses on because I have my eyes did. So I can read this now. So this is a 4-grain triple malt, 95 proof. So we're going to open this, see what it tastes like.
Never tried it.
Me neither. This is a new one for both of us. So, and that always sounds good, don't it? All right. Ooh, that smells good.
Thank you, sir.
Yipper.
Oh, got a good smell to it.
Ooh, smells Smells of some
sweet
fruit.
Sweet on the front.
Right? Got a tiny bit of vanilla, but a lot of fruity kind of smell.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. All right.
Let's try her.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
You too, sir.
Oh, wow.
Oof.
Oh, wow.
That's good.
That is really good.
Not much bite.
No. So some of my favorite, we were talking about this last night, some of my favorite are between that 95 and 105. I'll cheat a little bit, like my Weller's Antique 107. It's 107 proof. One of my favorite Wellers. That's good.
Yeah, 95 proof.
Yeah, that's mild. Like I don't like it too mild, but that's good. It's sweet. I get
oaky.
I get a little bit of oak, right? Mm-hmm. But mainly I'm getting like a vanilla caramel almost.
Yeah, real smooth. Lots of flavors going on.
Get a little bit of spices.
Definitely not one note.
Not one note at all. Very full flavor. That's really good. Good job, Rabbit Hole. You guys did a good one on this one.
Very good one.
A couple that I had last night. I've got a couple rabbit holes here that one I haven't even opened yet, but this one is the port cast. I didn't particularly care for that one. It had too much of a bite on the back end for me. But then the one that we did drink last night that we really enjoyed was this one in a rum cast. And you can actually taste the rum in this one, right?
That was
really good. Anyway, something I think's really cool about Bradley is Bradley has always been a student of business. So
we've been talking off and on for years.
So if we go back like 10 years, Bradley bought a couple trailers. Mm-hmm. And instead of running a business, he was renting the trailers out for days at a time in order to generate a little bit of revenue to pay for the trailers and stuff.
And it basically paid for my whole wedding too.
Right. And that was
a lot of it.
Yeah. That was
2 years ago.
The wedding was 2 years ago, but that was probably 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago that you started renting those trailers. Mm-hmm. So tell everybody what you're doing now. What do you got into?
So as of recently, about 2 months ago, we finally purchased our first business. Kind of one of those deals, lady was looking to retire, and price was right. Been in business 20 years. Kind of everything you're wanting to look for, right? No social media, no marketing, online presence, but it was like an old style website, not built up for cell phones or anything like that. So we looked it over. It was making okay money and things like that. And went through, I was about 3 or 4 months, and then we finally went through with the whole thing and finished it out and partnered with somebody on it just to kind of help us get in the door with it. And but it's a embroidery business. So it's called Hill Country Embroidery, Bandera, Texas. If we can do shirts, hats, all that fun stuff.
They can do shirts.
Yeah. Had to bring John something special for his birthday.
They can do shirts. So one of the cool things they do is they take pictures and they outline them. And they can embroider the outline. So if you have a dog or a cat or a loved one that's passed away or anything like that, they take it, outline it, not just for the silk screen stuff like this is, but they do the embroidery stuff as well, which is really, really cool. What type of items do you do stuff?
We can do pretty much anything. Tote bags, hats, shirts. We have one lady that always brings in these quilt patches that we put all the different designs that she wants on them. Pretty much anything you can think of, we can put it on there, whether it's DTF, vinyl, embroidery, screen print.
So I'm gonna be the ignorant one. What the hell's DTF? I'm calling bullshit right now, because see what happens in different industries is people talk this language, and this is why I do bourbon and bullshit, because that means absolutely nothing to you and nothing to me. What the hell?
He thought it meant the provocative thing the first time I told it to him. So
anyway.
So
what does that all mean?
So DTF is direct to film. So it's basically a giant printer that prints ink, the logo, onto a special film. And then you take the special powder that goes on the back, you heat it in an oven, it cures it, and then you can basically put it onto a shirt, different sizes, all that kind of stuff, put it on there, heat press it on, and it lasts 50, 60 wash cycles. It stays together a lot more than some of the other options that you can do.
So kind of like the old school iron-on patches that we used to do as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like an upgrade to doing a vinyl or something like that, but you can get like vivid actual colors. So you can do full pictures if you wanted to that has all the detail colors in it. Like
people's faces, things like that.
Full-on faces.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's the new way is kind of how everyone's...
What was the other words you used there that You said DTF. You said, what else do you guys do?
So the embroidery, so the stitching, the designs onto everything, and then vinyl transfer. It's just regular, heat transfer vinyl.
Gotcha.
You can do signs like you have outdoor vinyl, you have regular vinyl that you put on shirts and everything. Outdoor vinyl is good for like 10 years. You can put on your trucks, boats, things like that. A buddy of mine does Armadillo the Dirt Works. He's one of my friends, and we built him some logos that he put on the side of his window of his truck, on his tractor, things like that. And now we just did one. He bought a boat that he's rehabbing, and we did the boat logo. It was all faded out, and we vinyl printed that out for him, and he's putting it on his boat. So,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So when you do stuff like that, like I got a buddy that does signs, and Pat's picture is from Larry from Sign Quick here in Houston. What type of material can you put it on?
The DTF, you can pretty much put on anything. You can put on wood, metal, shirts, hats, boats. I mean, you name it. You can put on cardboard boxes.
So somebody has a real cool piece of custom wood or something, they can bring it in, put your logo on it.
You can just heat it. Yeah, you heat press it on there.
Piece of metal, same thing. So one of the things that Bradley and I have done through the years when I lived in Pipe Creek is, like, his dad had all these old fence posts and stuff, and we built some headboards with the old fence posts, 100-year-old fence posts and stuff. His dad had this really cool piece of cypress fence post. We put it together, made a headboard out of it. Some of that really cool stuff. You could put logos and stuff on that.
The DTF, really cool. From everything I've read and seen, that you can put it on almost anything.
That's pretty cool.
So
what's this? What's this made of?
So this one we did the vinyl.
This is vinyl.
Yeah.
Okay. So
vinyl heat transfer.
When Bradley gave me the shirt earlier this morning, he said that when they traced out the picture that's on the back, one of the things you do is you trace it out and then you cut it out and you pull out all of the negative space that you want to have. And he was like, man, was some of that such a pain in the ass? And I can see where it would be.
Doing the beard and all those little areas, they're so fine that it just takes detail and time to pull everything out. Where DTF, you can just do it real quick. It'll print that whole thing out. We just press it on there and go, and it's done. So faster turnaround, things like that is what I'm looking to get into. What's your website? hillcountryembroidery.com.
Okay. Any phone number they can call to get a hold of Rory?
Be 830-796-7806.
Okay.
We have Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
The main one, LinkedIn.
So for all my LinkedIn people that are watching this, go to hillcountryembroidery.com. You can order through them, call them up. One of the things I know is there's a small setup fee one time. You get a setup fee and a computer. They do one-time fees for tracings and stuff like that, like what's on the back of the shirt. But we sat here last night. This past year, I had different t-shirts made, different embroidery, brought them all out of my closet for Store Suite, showed them that, and I sat here with him and his wife, Sammy, and quizzed them on what they would charge to set it up, embroider, silk screen, or what he's calling a DTF, vinyl, things like that. And I got to tell you, they're better priced than what I paid right here in Houston.
In Houston, yeah, for sure.
So for sure, by probably 10 or 20% on each item. So I would encourage you to reach out to them and do that. So
yeah, and most everything we do, like company-wise, would be embroidery. Like, so doing the names, the company logo, things like that will most likely be embroidery. If you're wanting, like, if your design has lots of color and you want to add all that or have more of a realistic looking image, then the DTF would definitely be the way to go.
So one of the things I know about Bradley, that I became friends with his parents, as he mentioned, the whole beer thing. Not that I drink much, but
we still enjoy whiskey on the side too.
Yeah. So I'm not a big beer drinker. So when he said beer back then, I knew I would just take over something else and drink with his dad.
Yep.
But
well, and I don't drink beer either, and that's all. My dad's got a whole party barn, as we call it, with nothing but Lone Star memorabilia everywhere.
Antique stuff, some really cool stuff.
He's been collecting it since before I was born.
But the one thing I know about Jimbo, and for those of you that are friends with me, inner circle or second circle out, you've all met Jimbo.
At one point.
Yep. One of the hardest working guys I know. Absolutely amazing work ethic. Up at 4:30 every morning. in the office by 6 o'clock every day and not home until 6 o'clock every night.
And then building some project in his shop.
That's correct. Building on something. Remodeled his whole house, built cabinets. Right, just built some cabinets for you guys, right?
Built it for the shop.
For the embroidery shop. Like
a day, basically.
So
it would have taken me forever. But
from a work ethic standpoint, I know where this boy gets his work ethic.
Yep.
And
and I've had my hard jobs. Like John's taught me to get into working on something, not in something. I mean, I've basically done every blue collar hard job you can think of. Power line was my most recent. Now I'm kind of doing the sales thing. Used to drill water wells for years, blast holes in the quarries and everything. Worked in power plants. Did that when I lived in Louisiana.
You did hot shots. You did all kinds of stuff, right?
Oh yeah. Yep. Have a CDL. Do all that kind of stuff. But all that starts. It's not the age, it's the miles, as I always say. It starts wearing on you after a while.
Oh, absolutely. When you're gone,
especially like that line work. Like that was the funnest 3 years I've ever had, and I still miss it every day. But it wasn't going to get me where I wanted to be. Put it that way.
Well, when you were drilling wells, you were out in West Texas for months at a time.
We were working 120 plus hour weeks like it was nothing.
I remember that. That's bad on the body, but it gets to be worse on the mind, right?
Oh, for sure.
So when you talk dedication and focus and figuring it out, this is the guy that does it, and I know where he gets it from, and he gets it from his dad. I also know where he gets his pig-headedness, and that's from his mom. So, Marcy, if you're watching this, right back at you, baby.
That's where I get my niceness from.
No, that's true. So,
sweetest lady.
So, if you were to tell people from a business risk exploration standpoint, what kind of advice would you give them when it comes to business?
So I'm a big fan of the Main Street Millionaires, Cody Sanchez. I don't know if you've ever read her book.
No, I've not read it, but I know of it.
It's kind of like you do with the self-storage, where you're buying properties that are already existing, fixing them up, and turning them into what you want to turn them into. It's kind of the same thing where I'm looking into with the embroidery thing. It's been around 20 years. It's an established business. It's making money. But turn around and start implementing social media and podcasts and all those other revenues that this lady never even knew about, or design aspects. Like she would sit there for hours designing a deal that I can do in 5 minutes. It just implementing those little things. And we've already seen a big increase in clients telling us like, oh, we're getting our stuff in half the time that we were getting it before, just because we're younger and doing all these little things to speed everything up. So
doesn't surprise me.
The big thing that I've gotten into now is the business is already established. Why try to start something out of nothing with no money and buy something that's already running? We never even shut down. We just literally turnkey walked in.
So you're buying a revenue stream that
you're already buying it. So you're not, the risk is far less. So I mean, they say that 75%. You're 75% more likely to succeed buying a business that's already established and in. So some of them, this one, we don't really have employees. We have Sam's sister working for us. She's kind of our employee, but we didn't buy employees where we had to take on that risk of learning and doing all that. This is our first business that we purchased. So I feel that's a great avenue to look down if you're wanting to get into something.
So we, as you guys know, we buy undermanaged, underenhanced, underexpanded self-storage properties. So essentially what he's saying is he bought an undermanaged, underenhanced, underexpanded embroidery business. So you're already looking at new machinery, right? So
new machinery, new technologies like the DTF machines, things like that.
So there's your expansion, just like we would expand or enhancements is the new type of thing you're going to do, new product lines. Like we go in and take a building from non-climate and turn it into climate, right? Yep. So you're now taking a product line and turn it into something else. The whole tracing thing, all their idea, they did a couple of his dogs and put them out. Sammy last night was wearing the actual sweatshirt with the embroidery on it. How many stitches you said?
It was about 29,000 stitches.
29,000 stitches just for this dog.
And it's just outline. It wasn't filled. It wasn't colored, nothing. I mean, so I think it runs, 30, 45 minutes to run something that big. So
really super cool. And detailed too, which was super cool.
And she's a real shaggy dog, so she's got extra hair and things going on everywhere. So.
Yeah, what kind of dog she's? Because she's pretty.
She's a draught. What they call him, a Draughthar. So it's the German wire hair pointer, but she's got the bloodlines that come straight from Germany.
She looks like an old man is what she looks like.
She looks like Chewbacca, basically. Yeah. Her hair is crazy.
She got the goatee looking
But
thing and stuff.
She is one heck of a bird dog. Like, I never even sent her off to like professional training or anything. I just worked with her myself. And first year I ever took her out, I think her and my buddy's dog fetched up like 60 birds in her first trip out.
Holy moly.
And she was like, it took her a minute to figure out the game. And then as soon as she figured it out, it was just lights out. She was back and forth, like she'd done it her whole life. And she was at that point like a year and a half old.
I got some great stories from Bradley. When Bradley was 16 years old in Bernie, Texas, at Tacoma Creek or whatever.
Well, yeah, it's Comau.
Comau,
right there.
Right? They had a fishing tournament.
Father-son fishing tournament.
Father-son fishing tournament. But Jimbo was working. He had to work that Saturday.
Yep.
So I took Bradley, father-son fishing. And this sumbitch won first place.
Caught that big bass.
Yeah, and wins first place, a freaking trophy this big, walks away 15, 16 years old.
Yep.
Walking down to Bernie with this big ass trophy. But fishing Uvalde.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
with all the fish are below us.
They were below me.
Below me.
Yeah. So just some really cool, that's something him and I have in common. I don't hunt, but he does. But fishing,
You like to eat it, though.
I do. I'll eat it. You give me this filled with water and I'm going to fish it. And so would he.
Yep.
So we don't know we're going to catch anything, but we're going to fish it. So what other kind of advice would you give somebody? Now, it's only been 2 months. I realize that. But in your first 2 months, what have you realized from a business standpoint that you didn't realize 2 months ago?
So the biggest one I would say is really checking out the equipment. So we were under the impression that we knew that the machines were a little bit older and things, but we just didn't realize how much tinkering that really had to be done with them to get them to perform the way I want to perform. I'm pretty OCD and I would say a perfectionist. Like any little thing, it kind of bugs me if it's not perfect. And so that was kind of like a learning curve. And even with Rory, I would say we have to redo this because I don't like the way it turned out. And she was, kind of getting on thinking it was her. I was like, no, it's not you, it's the machines and everything. And so we had a guy come in. It turns out I ended up knowing the guy, really cool. But he came in, tweaked everything, or cleaned everything, serviced everything.
From or whatever?
Yeah, I bought my rooftop tent off of him 2 years prior. Then he comes in and I'm like, funny. So we had him come in, go through all the machines, clean them off. They just needed a good cleaning and service. And now we're on the tail end of it. We got everything figured out. Everything's right where I want it to be. And eventually we definitely will upgrade just because newer technologies, the embroidery systems and everything that you can get in now, just way better as far as the digitizing and things that. And we've already got a whole new computer system. Her computers were from before, stuff that I was using in high school and back in 09. One of her QuickBooks was 07.
Wow.
So crazy. And so that's part of the expanding and growing and just the older business kind of thing that you'll run into. But it's just really looking into that and then adding up what it'll actually cost to upgrade that certain stuff. So
whatever capital improvements you could
the capital improvements. You talked about it and I understood where you were coming from. I knew what we were going to start with. We did get a little bit of a discount on the business, which was cool when we were purchasing it, because you can always talk them down and do different things. I wish we could have, and we offered it, but she didn't want to do it, was creative financing, where she was going to assume some of the loan and we'd just pay her monthly for it. But she was really wanting to pay off her house, things like that. So she wanted that lump sum kind of thing. So we ended up taking a loan. I think we only put in $20,000 a piece with our investor that we went, or our partner that we went with. And then gave us $10,000 working capital.
Nice.
So, and we've just been kind of feeding off that because the business is already generating money. So
for the audience that knows, what he's talking about is owner financing. He couldn't get owner financing out of him, so he went to a bank. His business partner is a pretty savvy business lady out of Bandera, Texas. Been doing really well for herself for many, many years. So partnering with the right person means something. It's not just about money. It's about knowledge and leverage and creative financing, things like that.
Yeah, because I mean, to buy the business, I didn't drain any assets that I had already. It was investment money that we knew we were going to put aside for that kind of thing, and we just finally pulled the trigger on something. We've been talking about this for what, 3 years now, at least, or longer than that.
A lot longer than that.
Like where we were trying to figure out where I was going to go.
Exactly what you were going to do. It's probably been 3 or 4 years, but
this kind of just fell in our lap, kind of thing.
Business in general, I would say probably 10.
Yeah, easy, because you've been trying to get me to, like, what do you want to do? And you wouldn't, and he's not the one that's going to give you the answer. He makes you find the answer. So that's the way it's on you, but he pushes you in the direction that you need to go, and that's awesome.
So the other thing he's saying about the equipment is due diligence, like doing your due diligence on the front end. And we've all done that in buying a property.
Yep.
Self-storage property, you get in there, and even though you went and did an audit and due diligence, like I bought properties that once you got in, you realized that the leases weren't valid, things like that, after you did an audit on the leases. So you're never going to be 100% on due diligence. You're going to find things after you get on board.
For sure. And for the most part, like the way we did it, it wasn't a huge surprise with anything. There wasn't anything too crazy. We knew about what the lease was going to be for the building because the building is leased. We knew going into it that the machinery was older, the computers were older, things like that. But, she's operating day to day. So you think, okay, you can walk in and just kind of keep operating. And we are, but we saw like how much it was slowing her down and slowing everything down. And it's like, okay, where we want to go, this is not going to work for any kind of time.
Productivity matters.
Yeah, and so we already got new computers in. We got, just went with all new H&P stuff, double screens.
That's funny. I got a picture a couple of weeks ago from his wife, Sammy, replacing the computer in the office because it was like DOS or something.
Oh, no, yeah. It was like old, like I took one of those air cleaners things and there's all the vents on the side and I hit it with that air. I mean, it was just like centuries worth of dust coming out of it. That just showed how old it was, kind of thing. But yeah, so that's been a game changer for sure already.
So his next step, which is interesting, I always teach people this, is he bought the business, he didn't buy the building. So the next step is to get the business
into our own building
to such a positive cash flow that instead of paying rent, you're paying the mortgage of a property. And then you take the compound of revenue from the business and you compound it into a piece of real estate. And then you get things like cost segregation, accelerated depreciation, to where you get better tax deductions, even though you're making money on it at the same time. All of those things is how the rich get richer.
Yep.
So his next step, for those of you that are out in the hill country, Bandera, Pipe Creek, Bernie, Helotes, anywhere in that area, he's looking for a little scrap piece of land to build a metal building on to move the business into it. Yep. So if you know of that, hit me up or hit him up. So something else that is going on is just yesterday, all through the hill country, there's these major floods that are happening from that storm.
Yep.
Like some pretty major floods. You guys are coming out with a couple t-shirts to support the community. They're going to give back to the community by making the Pray for the Hill Country t-shirts.
Hill Country Strong.
Hill Country Strong. For those of you that have heard about Kerrville and
Hunt, Ingram, Centerpoint,
all the way down the Guadalupe River, they're going to do something really cool and give to the main charity in Kirk County.
In Kirk County, yep.
So hit them up, buy some of those t-shirts, help the local community. All proceeds are going to the Kirk County.
I got a lot of buddies that are on the ground working it right now, and they're saying it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's like there's some stuff that I don't want to get into detail on here that friends of his already know, and it's not even in the media yet. And it's just like what happened in Tennessee and the Carolinas and Kentucky with the tornadoes and everything. Very, very similar stories that are happening in the hill country. Ironically, it's called Hill Country and Embroidery. So anything you can do to help support them and support the local community would be really cool. Already went through that, how they get a hold of you, all that. It's on the website earlier. What else you want to tell them? Anything before we go?
I mean, just help us out as much as you can. We'll have a link for everything on the shirts. We're working on all the designs and stuff right now. We'll take pre-orders on it. That way we know how many shirts to order. You can find us on our website, hillcountryembroidery.com. 830-796-7806 is the phone number. Just ask for Rory. She'll be the one to answer.
And this Rabbit Hole is really good,
I'm
dude.
enjoying it. That was a good pick.
It's good, very good pick. Caramel.
It's like 15
vanilla.
minutes walking up and down now. I was
Really?
like, I got to find something we haven't tried yet.
Absolutely amazing. For those of you who listen to this all the time, JC Manus at Store Suite, STOR, no E, SUITE, 210-818-1496. And as I always say, come join the fun. Oh, wow.